Alright everybody, welcome to the Echo League Season 2 group stage. This is a replay cast, as such I have skipped ahead in the draft since I knew what everything was going to be picked. But I will take a short moment to talk about the drafts and let you know kind of what I think we should expect. Meester Krbs once again picking up a clockwork they had in game number 1, which you can find on my channel. So they have really good lanes again. Lifestealer, Outworld Devourer, Nyx Assassin, Jakiro, these are all very, very strong laners. Their team fight is a little less strong. They have much less AoE. They don't have as strong of, I think, just raw right click. They have the OD. But I think House Before Strats do have the better team fight with the Disruptor ult, Luna ult, Razor ult, Centaur Stampede. They have better just 5v5s, but they're going to be, I think surviving the early game might be a little bit difficult for them. We'll see, but I do think the lanes favor Mr. Krbs again, just like last game. Hoping to see Boot on the Luna perform a lot better than they did on the Phantom Assassin. I think she has better supports this time. I believe the Mirana is a support. They have a little bit of setup for that. Anyways, on the side of hats, let me fix this. Disruptor, we have Edge.
It was time to prepare for
on
that.
Razor, it is Buttons. Boot playing the Luna. Mirana is Monster, and on the side, and playing the Centaur is Bile Acid. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Mr. Krbs, we have Bree playing the Clockwork. It is an encore performance for him. Snarf on the offlane Nyx Assassin. HTPG on the Lifestealer. Cine playing the mid lane Outworld Devourer, and last but not least is Check playing the Jakiro. So we see a smoke coming from Hats Before Strats. They did this last game, so it is possible that Mr. Krbs are expecting this. Ooh, do they have any way to trap anybody? They don't. They get pinged out. The arrow is coming in, but it's not quite going to connect on Check, and looks like this will just be a rune for them, and they weren't quite able to.
30 seconds remaining.
I'm not sure how I like this ward, but they weren't able to get a kill, but they will get that bounty rune, and Luna even seems to want to try to contest this. Her right clicks are very, very strong thanks to the aura, but Nyx Assassin, 4 armor, and also very strong right click, so I don't know if she can actually steal this from him. And he could always just take his stun and push her back, but oh, it looks like something might be happening with the top. Just some right clicks coming out. Looks like there's a little bit of contest over each of these runes, and Razor trying to pick that up, and it looks like 3 runes going the way of Mr. Krbs, actually. But oh, Bree caught once again. Last game he got himself stuck in here. A lot of damage going on to the Razor. 56 damage on the Razor, but the arrow going to connect from the other side of the map, and it's going to be first blood. But this is how Bree died last game as well, and first blood. I mean, he did get that bounty rune, so I don't think he's all that sad about it. He had that little bit of extra gold, didn't lose too much. So Jakiro has not skilled anything up yet. Lifestealer also not got anything yet. Will likely go for a Feast. Mirana just gonna farm up with her arrow. That's similar to Crystal Maiden. She'll farm with the jungle a little bit, and Dual Breath coming out, trying to zone out this Centaur to the best of their ability. It's a very frustrating harass from these two heroes. It's difficult to lane against Lifestealer or Jakiro by himself, but oh, Jakiro caught in the stun, the stomp, not enough mana, but it's now enough mana cooling down in just a second. They're going to get a stomp on Check, and Check going to go down as well. These arrows from Monster have been pretty good so far. Two pretty decent arrows setting up for 2 kills, so this Mirana, already they're doing a lot more with their supports than they did last game, and that definitely was a big issue, as I felt like they didn't utilize those supports very effectively. They had Scarth and Crystal Maiden, but weren't really able to kind of get any kills or apply any pressure with them. Bree pops the Battery Assault, wants to just zone these two out to the best of his ability. Monster is level 2. Oh, but Bree needs to be really careful. Taking these tower shots is not what he wants to do at this stage of the game. There's no arrow. Oh, the arrow coming out, but it's not going to hit. Bree very low. Does have 4 tangos, so it should be okay. Dual Breath is available. Let's see if he uses it, and does catch 1 hero with it. Did not. Oh, actually ended up getting from the Mirana, so a little bit of harass coming out from the Jakiro, and Lifestealer able to farm pretty well. Meanwhile, let's go check out our mid matchup, which is Razor versus Outward Devourer. I think this is heavily OD favored. The banish spam is going to be very difficult for Razor to deal with. Can also banish him while he's draining damage, and that'll stop him from getting very high on the static link. Not to say that they can't kill him. If he gets arrowed, he could set up an arrow on himself with the banish, so he needs to be very careful with that. The bot lane, Nyx Assassin going in pretty deep, caught by that Lucent Beam, has Spike Krbs available. I don't think they have the damage to kill him. He's a poor man's 5 armor. Yeah, he's... And they're both level 1. Oh no, level 2 on the Luna and level 1 on the Disruptor. Yeah, they don't kill him. But Snarf showing no fear down here. Mid matchup. I expect we'll see supports roaming. Either a Clockwork or a Mirana rotation could end in a kill. The arrow coming out. It connects on the Lifestealer. He's done for a very, very long time. They have the Stomp as well. They chain it perfectly. The Double Edge can come out right now, doing a lot of damage. HPTG getting very low. He's trying to fight back up using his Lifestealer heal, but it's not going to be enough, and he's going to get down. But Clockwork shows up, and now Biohazard's in trouble. And looks like he will go down to the Clockwork Battery Assault, but Mirana will be just fine. And I think this is a very worthwhile trade for Hats. They are happy trading a Centaur for the core Lifestealer. Mid, a banish coming out onto the Razor again.
Denied.
Outworld, now he pops the tether, trying to get some damage. Only gets 10 though. Is there more? Mirana has an arrow available. Centaur is back. These guys look like they really want something in the bot lane. Trying to beat up on Snarf, but he looks like he's just fine. And now, no engagement just yet. But so far in just 3 minutes, 4 kills have gone out, so both teams fighting very hard, but Haas definitely doing much, much better in this early game than they did last game. Bioacid trying to contest the pull, does actually manage to stop the pull, but now taking up some harass, but Lifestealer is stunned up, but I don't think Centaur wants anything to do with this. His Stomp is on cooldown, so he won't be able to get it. But now Bioacid pushed back by the Clockwork. Lifestealer trying to rotate around, trying to block his ways out, and Centaur does not have enough for a Stomp. Looks like he should be able to get out of here unless Lifestealer can get a slow off on him, but there's a few seconds left. The arrow gonna connect on the Lifestealer, and now he's stunned up. These arrows from Monster have been great. Constantly getting them when he needs to. Lucent Beam harassing Snarf, but he looks like he's just gonna be just fine.
A gift from the tempest of battle.
Cine lost a lot of damage there. 56 damage drained. But now he's got it all back. He needs to be careful fighting Razor like that. No, a leap forward from the Mirana. Looks like she maybe thinking about doing something to this clock. And Battery Assault comes out. He has Cogs. Oh, he walks right into the arrow though, and yeah, he's gonna go down. Traps him in the Cogs, but it doesn't really matter at all. Gonna give him a little bit of extra gold from that. This Mirana, she is 2-0 and 2, setting up for lots of kills. Disruptor looks like he might be rotating somewhere. A lot of damage drained. 78, 84, 90, over 100 damage stolen from this Outward Devourer. There's no way he can stick around. Fun's gonna be doing over 200 damage per hit, and looks like a little engagement onto the Centaur, but they just don't really have the damage. He pops his Rage, trying to get the damage in, but Rage is long enough, and oh man, another great arrow, and yeah, I don't think you want to go back in there, Centaur. Looks like a rotation from the clock, but I don't think they have any way of killing that guy now. A TP coming in from Disruptor. Shrine's now coming up just a few seconds ago, and Centaur going to utilize that Shrine, get himself back up to full fighting power.
My thanks.
Disruptor popping his salve onto the Razor. But the farm still looking good for the side of Mr. Krbs. The Lifestealer at 24, OD at 22, Razor at 20, and Luna at 14. So Luna, again, fairly far behind. This lane is much better than the last one, so she'll hopefully be able to finish a couple of her items. She's got her power treads not too far from finished. Arrow coming out, connecting on the life stealers. They can chain the stomp with it perfectly. And now a double edge is there. Lots of damage. I don't think this life stealer, he's trying to man fight again, trying to heal up, but it just isn't enough, and he's going to go down. But Bioacid, he looks like he's going to pay the price as well. So a 1-for-1 again, but it's a core for an offlaner. I think they're very, very happy with this. Banish coming out onto the Razor. Banish harass. Man, 94 stolen damage, so OD does not want to fight this guy right now. I know Clockwork has showed up at the top lane, but not able to find anything.
Denied.
So far, Hat's doing really, really well. I thought, you know, that Mr. Krbs had the stronger lanes, but honestly, a lot of this is the Mirana. I think, yeah, all of these kills have happened here at the top lane, and it's all being set up by Monster, who has been playing a fantastic game. These arrows have been very, very good. I've seen only one miss so far, and does he want to try to get something? There is a shrine. Oh, Cindy, you don't want to walk uphill into that shrine. Popping the banish, and you should try to get out of here, but slow from the unstable current. Keeping him back, Luna TPing, lots of nuke damage, so did stop the shrine from being as effective as it could have been, and Luna even rotating, and she's suffering on the CS, so a very, I think that was pretty decent space made by Mr. Krbs. Mirana, no points in the Starfall yet, Starstorm. Edgy with a couple points in Glimpse. We haven't really seen this Disruptor go very far yet. Clockwork. He is spotted by this ward. They have their own right here. I wonder which was placed first. So that one was placed just a few seconds before this one, so they may know that that was placed. And Salve buttons, using Salve in the mid lane. Looks like he's going to go for Lance. I guess it's not gonna make sense. Oh man, Lifestealer dying once again in the top lane. However, Centaur getting kind of low, but he's gonna be fine. Another arrow, and not gonna connect on Check. Check gonna be able to walk away just fine. If the arrow had connected, I'm not sure they had the damage anyway. I don't think she's a point in Starstorm yet. This Mirana is going for agility, just gonna be getting some carry items, getting some more damage, trying to out right click, and it's definitely paying off here. They're able to easily out damage these two heroes up at the top lane. Ping's coming out. Nyx Assassin sees Disruptor. Does he want him? It's a little close to the tower. Oh, they popped the kinetic field, perhaps sensing something is up, probably spotting out the Clockwork. Pings did come out. Maybe they saw Nyx use his ult. So this bot lane, I mean, CS though still looking in favor of Mr. Krbs. The Luna, only 17 CS. She's only gotten like 2 or 3 more CS since the last time I looked at her. She does have Eclipse though. And Luna still, even if she doesn't have items, she still has Eclipse, if nothing else. So that'll be a lot better than we saw last game, if nothing else. And Razor and Mirana doing very, very well. Mirana with her power treads and a Ring of Aquila. Reasonable damage coming out from her from the right clicks. Does HCP have a stout shield? Yes, he has a performance. Arrow coming out. Not going to connect onto Check. Check should be able to walk away from that. Would have been a very long duration arrow as well. TP coming from Clockwork should be scouted, and now the open wounds onto Mirana, but she leaps away. I don't think they can keep up with her. She doesn't have phase or anything though, so perhaps they can. The Centaur stomp looking for it. He catches on both heroes, so great stomp from him. The slow from Zakiro, but a slow is not going to be enough. And now a TP coming in from Razor. They need to be really careful here. Razor pops the static link onto Zakiro, uses his ultimate as well, and now the Lifestealer trying to go in on him, but there's a lot of damage being drained onto this Razor. Over 120, just about 120 damage. HCP, you really can't fight this guy. He does way too much, but he's going to try anyway. Jakiro and Clockwork in the far back line getting killed off by a double edge, and now Button's not able to find a kill with that rotation, but did force Jakiro and Lifestealer far back so that they could not assist the Clockwork. However, the consequence of this is that OD continues to farm freely in the mid lane. He's level 9 now. over 20 just about 20 CS in favor of the Outward Devourer. HDP, even though he's died a few times, still doing pretty good on his CS, has his phase boots, going for that armlet, pretty standard. Kind of surprised to the Orb of Venom versus Blightstone. Usually we see the Blightstone on the Lifestealers. They will eventually typically go into a Desolator. Perhaps Lifestealer thinking about farming these stacks. Can do so fairly well. And oh, Lifestealer getting caught by an arrow, but I don't think they have the follow-up damage. He infests into a creep. There's no Centaur Stomp available, but there is a double edge. You need to be careful not to lose their stack here. Marana seems to be pulling the creep wave back. Reasonably successful in doing so, so they're doing a good job contesting these pulls. This is a massive stack. That's going to be a team effort from Jakiro and Lifestealer. With Infest, he should be able to clear it. Can just pop out. Razor running away from the Outward Devourer is going to be just fine. We'll find an Invis rune.
Invisibility.
So we're perhaps gonna lurk for a little bit in the mid soak XP, or just gonna wander to a shrine, or maybe go top. Looks like he's heading to the top lane. There is a sentry ward here, so he would need to be careful, but actually, you know what? Looks like he might just use the shrine, take that bounty rune. Oh, no, he's not even gonna do that, he's just gonna farm. But with Centaur here, it looks like they might pop that shrine. Yeah. Out to bot lane, we've got Clock and Nyx. Looks like they want this Disruptor. And they do manage to find a Stampede coming out. They're trying to slow them up, trapped in the cogs, so the Stampede not going to help. But now the Eclipse coming out, doing the, oh, so much of it was soaked up, but Bree still going to go down thanks to the Eclipse. And Nyx trapped inside those cogs himself. He's on the run now. He should be fine. There is no Disruptor, so we can't glimpse him back. So 1-for-1 support for a support here at the bot lane. And they force a rotation from the Centaur and a Stampede and an Eclipse. Eclipse, very long cooldown ultimate, whereas Vendetta, not terribly long, you know? Looks like they're trying to harass up this the Marana, not the Luna. She does have Leap, though. Disruptor picking up that Tome of Knowledge. Does get him his level 6 from the Tome. Clockwork, I suspect, will pick up one himself. That should get him, it's 450 XP? I can't see right there. But he should be about level 6. Now taking a look at the net worth, OD very, very far ahead, managing to farm very happily, very healthily, but Marana is pretty high on the net worth, even ahead of their own Luna, thanks to the large amount of kills she's got. They have Static Storm here, so they could pick off this Outward Devourer. They pop the Kinetic Field, he's trapped inside, and now the Static Storm coming out. He's trying to get it. If he can outwit the duration, he might be able to get a Banish on somebody, but it looks like he's just going to go down here to the Plasma Field, and this Lightning Bolt? Thunder Strike should be enough to bring him down, so OD going to go down in the mid lane. A very good kill for them, OD, so far in this game, otherwise completely uncontested. And now this brings the Razor just a little bit ahead of the Lifestealer. Next is Assassin. Going for a Midas. He's probably going to buy the recipe first. That's very, very standard. That's the most efficient way to do it. You get the recipe, you can buy the gloves over here at the side shop, letting you use it right away.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Liquid Fire Harass coming out. It's several ranks in, so it's pretty annoying. And does the arrow manage to connect? And it does. That's a very long stun. The Shakiro looks like he could be in serious trouble. The Stomp coming out, connecting on 2. Double Edge doing a lot of damage. Shakiro very low. Now Stampede adding to that damage, and he's going to go down. He gets the Macro Pyre out. Marana doesn't have Leap available, and Centaur trapped inside the Macro Pyre for the time being. It's a lot of damage, but is it enough? He's very tanky. The Rocket coming out as well, getting some extra damage. And Clockwork actually going to find that kill there. And Macro Pyre able to get them a 1-for-1. That's a very good trade for them because they only lose the Chikiro. Lifestealer manages to survive through that, so very beneficial for them. They didn't lose the Lifestealer like they have in the last few trades, but Lifestealer, even though he's died 3 times, he's still second on net worth. He's not doing that badly here. He's going to try to farm up this stack. I am not 100% sure he can, but he's going to try. He's pretty tanky. He's got 9 armor. He's got 4 ranks in Feast, so he should be A-okay in this farm. Luna, Eclipse up in 6. She's farming up a stack of her own. Has several points in Glaive, so gonna be pretty easy to farm that up. Nyx Assassin just gonna at least try to soak XP, but Pink's coming out now. Onto the Luna. Do they want her? There is a hook shot available. And oh, Mirana actually getting a kill on the Outward Devourer in the mid lane, but Luna now getting jumped on. She has Eclipse. Does she use it though? Is she even able to get the animation off in time? No, she's not. She's actually just going to go down inside the cogs, but they deny their mid tower, and Mirana gets a kill onto the Outworld Devourer, who has died 2 consecutive times now. So it started off a really good game for him. He's now beginning to struggle a little bit. He's going for that force staff as first item. He's very close, only a few hundred gold away, but getting picked off a couple times in a row definitely slows his momentum, allows the enemy cores to catch up. The Lifestealer did manage to farm up this full stack, so it's going to be very good for him.
Dire's middle tower is in the wrong end of business.
And Luna below the Nyx Assassin in net worth, so she's still struggling a bit in this game. Wants to go for, I think that's Mask of Madness. The recipe did change, so I'm going to assume that's Mask. Yes. I think that's kind of interesting. I mean, you're silenced for 5 seconds. I guess if you pop your ult, you don't really need to Lucent Beam spam, and you can just go to town with the Mask. Well, at the top lane, are they looking for something? Kuro trying to slow up that Razor, and now getting chased down by Monster. There is an arrow. Is it going to connect? In fact, it does. The Starstorm doing a lot of damage, and she's going to go down to the Starstorm. The Razor ult popped, and now Bree trapped inside with the with Monster and taking massive damage from this Razor. But Monster might actually go down. She's unstoppable. If she dies here, that'd be really significant for them. But now it's the Lifestealer who's in trouble. There is some soak coming out from that creep, thankfully for him. And oh, but the Courier getting very low, and it's going to go down. They lose the Courier. And now Nyx Assassin looking for somebody. He might find the Mirana, and he does get the mana burn on her, so that's a lot of gold going to him. But Lifestealer, very, very low. Plasma Field coming up soon, but it is only rank 1. He just needs to not be spotted. A great stun coming out from the Nyx Assassin, so they should be just fine in getting their Lifestealer out of here. But still, this Mirana, that's probably worth it for them because they do get the Mirana shut down on the Nyx Assassin. However, Razor now at the top of the net worth, and Mirana closing in on the cores of Mr. Crab. Definitely not where they want to be. They definitely want to be pulling ahead, and Lifestealer finishing his armlet. They're struggling a little bit, but they're definitely not out of the game by any stretch. I mean, looking at the net worth graph, they've got 3 cores in the top 5. So they're doing pretty well. It's just that the Luna is so far behind, and Razor may not scale super well into the ultra late game. I mean, if we look at Outward Devourer, that you can't drain that mana to damage from his orbs. So he's still going to be able to do a respectable amount of damage with his right clicks alone and his ultimate, of course. And Lifestealer's the one that's really going to suffer from the drain, losing a ton of damage to that Razor. Razor finishing up his Vladimir's offering. Luna now with the Morbid Mask, a little bit of attack speed, a little bit of sustain. Only like 400 or 500 golds from her Mask of Madness, and now Bree needs to try to get out of here. He's getting rotated on by several heroes, and now an arrow is coming out, and it looks like it will connect on him, and he's just going to get mobbed by 4 heroes, destroyed by these guys, and perhaps a little deep, but you know, doing that sacrificial role, trying to get some information, but wasn't even able to place a ward or anything over here. Didn't even have a ward, so a bit peculiar that he's down here considering not many of the Dire heroes were in the area to begin with. Meanwhile, Dire take the opportunity, seeing Mirana and Centaur down at the bot lane to take this tower. Get a nice boost of gold for everybody on their team. Smoke though going into the mid. Outward Devourer is in an alright position, but now walking into the danger zone. The blink coming from the Centaur stomps now. The damage drain coming out. He has a banish if he wants to defensively, and he defensively banishes himself. TP rotations are coming in. Static Storm is available. Macropyre though does get out in time. The Static Storm catching on to them, but looks like the Kuro getting melted inside the Static Core, and so it's not, even though all those rotations, they're not able to save anybody. Siri's still going to go down, and oh, man, that hammer drop, they're doing a lot of damage, and Mirana going to go down to the Macropyre. They do get the Disruptor as well, so 2 dead, and oh, Razor though, his damage is so high, 203 stolen damage, doing their best to try to find something on him, but a triple kill for him and a DD rune from the Lifestealer might be all it takes though. Rage coming out, and he's He's getting smacked down. Even through all that damage, it's not going to be enough, and he will go down, not able to lifesteal up off of that. So a 3-for-3 trade, and I think that does actually favor the Dire, but only barely. They did lose their Outworld, but they did kill off the Razor as well. So both mids dying and 2 supports, while the Mirana really seems to be more of a carry than the Luna. However, with that, she's able to farm up a little bit faster. She finished her Mask of Madness and has pulled ahead of the Mirana and is doing a little bit catching up to the Nyx Assassin in terms of her farm. So once teamfights break out, it's going to be really hard to fight against. Once Luna gets involved with them especially, I mean, Eclipse plus Moonglaves, it's a lot of damage coming out, even if she isn't super farmed. But she farms a lot faster than a PA. Putting Boot on this hero I think was a much better idea than on the Phantom Assassin, who needs several items to farm, like really fast. I think this was a much better choice. Next, Assassin with his Midas wants to grab a Aether Lens for that added range onto the Impale, and we're likely to see him get an Aghanim Scepter. That's usually the next build, and with an Aether Lens you have seemingly infinite range Impales. Centaur getting spotted by Bile Acid. Pings coming out onto the clock. I think they see him with this ward up here. No, that's the sentry. Yeah, I think they just barely spotted him, so I think they know where he is. He needs to be really cautious. Mirana, now spotted by the Lifestealer, who is going for a Desolator, and he's very close to it. He only needs one more Mithril Hammer. Mirana jumping back, and now Stampede coming to slow up this clockwork. But with the Battery Assault and maybe the Cogs, he might actually be able to get out of here. Can use his hook defensively, and he hits to a creep and manages to just run away. Both teams committing an ult there. I think Hookshot less important than Stampede, but neither has a terribly long cooldown. Sorry about that. Infest now onto the Nyx Assassin. He pops his ultimate, so they might be looking for somebody. If they don't have detection down here, it could be a nasty surprise for somebody. This Razor is very, very tanky. The Rocket scouting the back. They spot 2 heroes. The arrow coming out. Oh, they caught the Nyx. Is there any detection, though? They place the Sentry Ward now, and now they're diving on the Nyx. He pops his Oh, he doesn't get Krbs off in time, and now Lifestealer bursting out, trying to find somebody. The Banish that caught onto the Razor is now ended, and now the Eclipse doing lots of damage to the Clockwork and to the Jakiro. There's a Macro Pyre available if they want to try to use it, but can they get in a good position? The Moonlight Shadow coming out as well. Will they have the vision for this Macro Pyre? Not well enough position to catch more heroes. They kill off the Luna, but they've lost 2 of their own. Banish onto the Outworld, but the ult from the Razor is still going on and kills him off, and now Lifestealer on the run, and Razor freed in front of him, and oh, this Lifestealer doesn't even have his Rage available, trying to man-fight his way up, but not going to find anything. Pops the Rage and just going to go down, and it's going to be a triple kill, and ultimately a 5-man wipe. That arrow, I don't even think it was on purpose, catching that Nyx Assassin, and with that, their initiation completely botched. And that 5-man wipe is very brutal for them, and it's going to be a tower, so just losing their Luna, really something they're happy to do if it means killing all 5 enemy heroes, and things looking pretty grim now. If we look at the overall net worth, it's actually still not that bad for them. It's only 1k in their favor, and it's just because their 3 cores are farming a lot better than the other 3 cores, but again, the team fight of HBS is really, really good. They have Centaur, they have Mirana AoE, they have Disruptor Static Storm. Razor has good AoE in his ult, he also has good plasma field damage, and Eclipse did a ton of work in that fight. Even though Luna was the only casualty, her damage is not to be understated in that fight. Meanwhile, Mr. Krbs really rely on getting pickoffs, I think. You know, you have the Nyx Assassin, you have a Lifestealer, very single target oriented heroes. Yeah, you have the Jakiro AoE, but I'm not sure it's enough. And oh, speaking of Jakiro, they are spotted underneath this ward. They place a sentry, and I think they do catch that. Yeah, they do catch that obs, so managed to remove a little bit of enemy vision. The other thing is the Moonlight Shadow, they fought inside that, and Lifestealer wasn't able to fight anybody. They just couldn't see them. Mirana just continuing to farm up with her arrows. Most of these cores are very, very close in farm, but Razor starting to pull ahead. He's finished his Sange and Yasha. Looks like he's going to go for a Hurricane Pike as his next item. It's also level 16. Looking at the overall levels, he's 2 ahead of everybody else. Looking at last hits, he's still a little bit behind, but 10, 1, and 2, you can be a little bit behind in last hits and be plenty well on the net worth chart.
Hurry the hands of the clock.
Looking at his talents, he went the 15 agility and unstable current damage, so getting targeted by those spells, that's a lot of added damage onto that. What is that? That's 260 from casting spells on him, so Life Stealer, Nyx Assassin Mana Burn, and the Banish. I think that's okay. I think I actually would have rather seen the cast range talent. I think that would have made Static Link a lot more reliable. And increased Plasma Field AoE, and now Lifestealer getting blown up here at the top lane by Centaur and Mirana. The burst is so high, and Mirana going for the Ags. It's not as favored as it was. Usually you'll see Miranas go like Maelstroms and Mantas, but she's in the support role, so thinking maybe I should just get one useful team fighting item so that and it's a decent farming item. Make her less reliant on the farm, allowing the other carries, the other heroes on the team, to farm up. And now Nyx Assassin engaging onto this Disruptor. Moonlight Shadow coming out. He's right underneath the Sentry, but is that Stomp gonna be, is the Moonlight Shadow gonna be enough? And there's not enough mana for the Mana Burn. He pops the Kinetic Field and the Static Storm. An arrow coming out, connecting onto... Oh, just barely dodging, and now a defensive banish protecting his teammate. He does have his ultimate available. He's stolen a decent amount of intelligence, but doesn't really want to pop it just yet. And now Clockwork has arrived. Moonlight Shadow will time out really soon, and the Hood of Defiance has ended, so it looks like Bioacid is trapped here. The sacrifice, and otherwise the other heroes managed to walk away, but they did. The Lifestealer did that earlier. Oh, that does catch, but she does have leap, so she will be just fine. Hook shot connecting onto the Disruptor, and Disruptor already very, very low. Glimpse, but not going to be enough. In fact, it's going to be a free escape for the Clockwork. Not that anyone was around, but so far, that was a 2-for-0 trade. I think Lifestealer died a little bit earlier. So pretty good for them, but they have to protect their Lifestealer a little bit better. If he dies, I mean, he needs to finish this Desolator. Once he gets that, his burst damage from his Feast plus Armlet is going to be very, very respectable damage. Also going to be a very good objective taker. Can go for Roshan. Both teams very bad at Roshan, actually. But with a Lifestealer with a Desolator, you're a little bit better off than a Mirana with Ags. She's very close to finishing that. Only a few hundred gold away now. A bounty rune and a few arrowed creeps should actually do the trick. HTP gonna be farming up the Ancients. Wants to get that Desolator finished. He's very close. Luna's next item is a Force Staff, so gonna be going for a Hurricane Pike of her own. And I like the choice. Gets her away from Lifestealer, gets her out of Clock Cogs. The Force Staff probably the better first item, just because of the Clock Cogs, because of open wounds. Mirana only a few hundred gold now from that Ags, and now they've smoked up, looking to find some kills. They don't have their scan, nor do they have very many deep wards, so I think it's nighttime too, so it could be difficult for them to find their way into these kills. If they go on low ground and get spotted on the high ground, then they don't find any kills. So here's R grouped up. Do they want to smoke? They also don't have their scan, and I didn't see if their scan successfully scouted out enemy heroes, so now they've infested, and now they're smoking up. They might run into each other, or they may walk right by each other. The rocket flare coming out, the ward getting placed down. And now they know that they're up there. Clock could turn around, and it looks like they are turning around. The arrow coming out, not going to connect on anyone. Monster has leap, and Stampede's trying to get to safety, and now the Stealer popping out. Static Storm coming out, connecting on the Hour of the Devour. He's trapped inside the field, and Mirana getting very low, pushed back into the field. Now this Ice Pack coming out, connecting on 2 heroes. Mirana leaping up to the high ground, but does that mean she's safe? She's got to pop her TP. Will she be able to get out of here? And it looks like she actually just might, but no, the hookshot going to cancel that. And Buttons getting very, very low, and will he go down? He's slowed up. Moonlight Shadow caught on just in time, but he is going to go down to the mana burn of the Nyx Assassin, and 3 heroes dead for nothing. Great fight for Mr. Krbs. Really well positioned, just not a good place for them to fight. Hats fighting in a very narrow enclosed area right here, getting caught by Ice Path, getting caught by the Macro Pyre, a lot of ambient damage. And if we look at Jakiro, actually he didn't do much damage at all there, but the Hour of the Devour, well, he certainly did. A lot of right click damage, and oh, looks like he popped that ult, and they do find the Centaur on top of everything else, so looks like they weren't quite done with a kill. with their little rampage. Uh-oh. I do apologize. The game has lagged out. Alright, but it looks like we're back in action. Everything's just fine. And Life's there with that Desolator doing a lot of damage onto this tier 2 tower and taking a peek at the overall net worth. It's never really gotten that high in anyone's favor.
Radiant's middle tower is not safe.
But this mid tower will go down to the outworld of Mr. Krbs. Maybe I should call them Ooh Yeah. Looks like he's going to be going for a Shiva's Guard. Good item here. Slow down the right click damage of the Luna, of the Razor. Also a very useful active. Nyx building his Aghanim Scepter. Mirana still not quite done that death, putting her back a little bit in terms of her farm.
Double damage.
And now Life's there hitting level 15, grabs his 25 damage talent over the 250 health. That's probably okay, he's fairly tanky. He's going to be going Echo Saber next. Nice little burst item. Double damage on Outworld Devourer. With the OD now having some of his items and max of Essence Aura and max of his Arcane Orb, they can kill Roshan very, very quickly, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Mr. Krbs take a go at it. Perhaps want to win a team fight first. Oh, Clogs coming out. They catch the Razor, they pop the Banish onto him, and now Luna does have that ultimate. Static Storm coming out, Stampede popped as well. The Banish still lasting. Now an arrow coming out. It is going to connect onto the Clockwork. Clockwork getting burnt down, and he will go down to the Razor, and now they pop the stun. The Eclipse coming out, though, but is it going to be enough? She gets bursted down before being able to do very much damage at all, and PG, HP jumping forward. He needs to be careful. There's a lot of physical damage. He's getting very, very low. Hazard Infest. He's going to run back the kinetic field, pushing him away. They trade the Luna for the Clockwork. It's so far a decent trade for the Dire, and now looks like they're looking for something. They have a Nyx Assassin jumping forward. Shrine popped, though. They need to be very cautious, and it looks like he wants to go in on this Disruptor. I apologize for the lag. It looks like they're going to go for it. Now Stomp catching on two heroes. OD doesn't have his ult. He needs to get himself out of here, but he gets double-edged and bursted down. And now the Mirana ultimate coming out, trying to buy some time for a team. They're all slowed up. Infest on the Nyx Assassin, but it's not going to be enough. He's going to go down very, very quickly. And now Lifestealer kind of trapped here. There's no one around to save him, and he's going to go down as well. That's 4 heroes dead. Mr. Krbs biting off a little more than they could chew there. Perhaps should have been happy with their trade instead of trying to chase forward, but very hungry to try to get an advantage. And now it looks like the Goldgraph is probably going to take a swing in the other direction. This will allow Mirana to finish her eggs, and now shooting an arrow. It's not going to connect on anyone or anything. Overall gold just below 1k in favor of hats now, so this Goldcraft bouncing all over the place, but XP perhaps a little more telling. It's 2k in favor of hats, but still a very even game.
Dire's middle tower is under fire.
Sorry, just making sure it wasn't slowed, but it looks like it's just a bit of lag on my end.
Dire has strengthened their
Again, sorry for the
structures.
potato quality. I may redo these casts when I return home tomorrow sometime. Ag's now finished on the Mirana. So her farm will be a little bit faster. The double Starstorm going to be a very efficient way. And now a hookshot coming in. The Stampede popped as well here in the mid lane. Are they able to actually find anything? The Cogs, they do manage to get the Disruptor, but it looks like that will be all that they find in this exchange.
It's killing time.
Meester are getting very aggressive. He needs to be very careful, though.
Bottom tower is on its way further down.
If he gets caught in a static link, he just needs to run. His damage is not going to do anything, and Razor will be able to fight toe-to-toe with him fairly
Dire's
easily in that
bottom
case.
tower is under attack.
Nyx popped up with his Vendetta. Now infested. Boots looks to be the victim of choice. OD jumping forward, just getting the right clicks out. Is the stun going to come out? It does connect. Now stun on the OD. The double Starstorm doing a good chunk of damage, but is it going to be enough? Mirana has her leap, should be able to get out, and now the mana burn coming out. Oh, but now no mana to pop that leap. She's now banished up, and oh, this banish could be her death sentence. I don't think her mana regen is high enough to get her up there. The Starstorm coming out, but it's not going to matter. She's pushed back into the jaws of death by the Clockwork Cogs, and she's going to go down. A very successful invasion from the Dire. Getting 2 heroes, and before that they get Disruptor as well, so 3 quick kills and allowing the Dire to catch up in terms of the kill count.
Radiant's bottom tower has a nasty situation.
Now the tier 1 bot getting pressured. Fortification is on cooldown. This is the last tier 1 on the map, and it will finally go down. So now Lifestealer catching up to the Razor in terms of farm. Outward Devourer also catching up.
Homing in.
Placing down a Sentry Ward. Some pings coming out. They want to make sure that, you know, they don't get caught by a Moonlight Shadow.
Well at the moment.
Moonlight Shadow will be available when the Mirana
Radiant's bottom
respawns.
tower has a nasty situation. Radiant's
Now,
bottom
lots of
tower
push
has
coming out.
uninvited guests.
And I mean, another thing is the push on Mr. Krbs is very strong. You have Jakira's Liquid Fire, slowing down the tower's rate of fire enough that a creep wave will survive for much longer than it would normally do so, allowing them to continue their push. TP coming out, a smoke from the Radiant as well, but mass TPs back to their side of the map, and Razor TPing away. So that smoke will not find anything this time. Very quick TP away from Mr. Krbs, learning from their previous mistakes in the game, overstaying their welcome. Outward Devourer has the plate mail. Getting ready to get towards his Shiva's Guard. So much tankier. 27 armor on him. Lifestealer. Seems as he's finished his Echo Saber and will be going for a Basher as his next item. Pretty standard items for that Lifestealer. Mirana, I'm not sure what she's going to go next. She's got some options. I mean, she could even go a defensive item like a Linken's to pop onto her teammates, or perhaps a Maelstrom for herself. I think it's interesting she went the attack speed instead of the spell. I mean, it's only 5% spell amp, so maybe not. That's probably pretty rough. Yeah, it's only 5%. It's probably not super worth it. We're spotted by these wards here. So pretty good information coming out for the Radiant. Lifestealer just barely behind the Razor now.
Do it with flair.
Rocket Flare is providing good information. And now a gem on the Nyx Assassin. Once he picks that up, they will spot these wards, and that will give them a lot more freedom to roam around. He could, they'll never get their smokes caught. Also catch enemies in the Moonlight Shadow.
Flares here.
One thing to note though is how great the vision advantage is going to be for Mr. Krbs. They have Nyx who can scout around, they have rocket flares that will allow them to spot anything that's going to be happening at various parts of the map. You can launch it at choke points, you can launch it at typical travel spots, launch it at Roshan. A very useful spell, and back when Clock was really commonly picked, we saw a lot of emphasis on the usage of the rocket flare. Now Hurricane Pike finished up for the Razor. I believe one was finished up for the Outward Devourer as well. He has enough gold to buy his Mystic Staff. That'll be a decent increase to his damage. Oh, an arrow coming out, connecting onto the Outward Devourer, but I don't think they want to go in on this. Just a scouting arrow. Fortunate that it hit, I suppose, but it doesn't really lead to anything. And now smoke. Nyx Assassin popping Vendetta with a Lifestealer inside him. Edgy, he doesn't have any vision here, and they could find even a bigger prize in the Razor. Coming around, the rocket flare coming in. They're scouting out. They see where the Luna is. They see where everybody is. Can they burst down this Mirana in time? Do they have the stun? It doesn't connect. And now Stampede coming out in a hook shot. Doesn't connect on anyone, but a banish catches onto the Luna. She's in the danger zone now, and now the Cogs trapping her inside, and the Ice Path as well on top of everything. Luna not going to be able to... Will she be able to get her ult off? She's force-staffed by an ally to safety. Now both teams just kind of flexing at each other. No one really wants to engage. Stampede has been used, but the Stomp coming back in, but a defensive force staff pushing Clockwork back to safety. And Plasma Field going to be providing some vision, and now Clockwork getting very, very low. The Starstorm not going to catch on anybody at all. She didn't have any vision. Both teams just going to back off. Just flexing at each other once again, and Meester going to pop out. Doesn't want to waste any more time inside that Nyx.
There it goes.
Now the Radiant going to heal up with a base shrine. So both teams just have a plethora of force staffs on both sides at this point, and lots of defensive applications to these. Maybe Mirana will go like a Hurricane Pike, a good utility item. That's 2 force staffs on the Radiant and 3 on the Dire. Clock will go. Clock has one. Jakiro and Outworld has one. Meanwhile, it is Luna and a Razor with Hurricane Pikes or their force staffs. Things have calmed down quite a bit in this game now. Net worth graph now just barely 2k in favor of Oh Yeah or Mr. Krbs. Oh Yeah, Mr. Krbs is their full title, which has got about 3k. XP actually in HBS's favor, but below 2k, so game still very, very even. Both teams pretty even on objectives. However, Mr. Krbs has claimed almost all the tier 2s on the hat side. Next Assassin closing in on that. Only 1800 gold now from his Aghanim Scepter. Going to be a very potent team fight. High ground siege and high ground defense item. OD now finishing up his Shiva's Guard. Going to add to his damage output as well as his survivability. Good item choice from him. I suspect something like a Sheep Stick next. I think Sheep makes the most sense. Perhaps a BKB. BKB would be good as well. Allow him to fight it through the Static Storm. Yeah, you know what? I think he might go BKB next. Good survivability item. Looks like they may want to smoke here. They do have that gem, so they know they weren't spotted. They have their scan available. The Radiant are all grouped up. They might be caught here. They spot at least a couple heroes inside that ward. Clockwork. His smoke is not broken just yet. Ping's coming out. They know Razor's over there. Nyx spots 2. Rocket Flare coming out. Stomp, not going to connect on anyone, and now jumping out. Disruptor getting very, very low. Moonlight Shadow Pop, they do have a gem, so they do see these heroes, and now Razor and Mirana both stand up from that spike carapace. Do they have anything? Rage continuing to go on them. Eclipse coming up, but not doing any damage to the lifestealer. However, the Nyx Assassin getting very, very low. Ice Path catching 3 heroes. Phenomenal Ice Path, but OD getting very, very low. Caught in that silence too, and he's stunned for a very long time thanks to the arrow. Looks like he's not going to be able to do anything, but the Macro Pyre, even though they get the OD, they don't want to fight inside this, and now Boot getting very, very low, as well as Bio Acid. They've lost 3 heroes already. Looks like it's going to turn into 4. Nyx Assassin's still alive too. If he can spot this Mirana, she is TPing away though. It looks like she will manage to get out just in time, but that is 4 heroes for 2. They do get the OD though, so a very important kill for them, but still a 1500 gold swing in favor of Mr. Krbs, continuing to build onto the gold advantage. And Outworld, I think, is okay dying there. And I think that is a sign that he should go a BKB. If he pops BKB at the very beginning of that fight, he isn't arrowed, he isn't caught in a static storm. But they can't, it happened at the bot lane, so it's probably the best lane that it happened for them. They can't easily get into the Roche pit. They can't go get that tier 2 up at the top lane. Nyx Assassin with his gold per minute talent. I think it's a good idea. I mean, 40 agility is a lot of armor, a lot of attack speed, and decent damage for him, but it's not as good, I think, as the GPM. I think the GPM will just allow him to build items. Now popping the rage, looks like he wants to go on somebody. She does have leap available. She will leap away, and it should be just fine. Hook shot, not going to connect on anyone either, but man, HT not giving up so easily. Again, I want to apologize for the potato quality. 1 second seems to take 2 at times, but if asked, I will recast these on my desktop when I return home. Now TPs, looks like they want to get out of here. Good call. Most of the Radiant are respawning. Basher now finished. Adding another layer of control. Jakiro, though, in that last fight, playing very, very well. I mean, that Ice Path and Macro Power catching on so many heroes. So Jakiro, check, doing a great job in this game.
Death and gold are linked.
Snarf still only 600 gold now from his Ags. Gonna add great amounts of team fight usage to him. And now Edgy popping that smoke. They do have a scan. Dire are all grouped up here by the shrine. If they activate the shrine, it could be really hard to pick them off. Clock, though, could find himself in a dangerous situation if he's not careful. He picks up that bounty rune. Ping's coming out, though, onto the side of the map. Do they have any idea what's coming? They didn't seem to have any vision. An arrow coming out, and no, the tether coming out. Clock, though, breaking it, pops his cogs. He needs to get away. The cog's going to push the Razor. Nope, not quite, but the stomp going to connect on the clockwork. He pops his blade mill, but that's really not going to be enough, and now he has his hook shot if he wants to try to use it for something, but not going to. And now the Ice Path catching on 2 heroes. HG running forward, wants to get some people, but he's all by himself here. Needs to be very careful, taking a lot of damage, but healing up a lot as well. And now the Shiva's Guard from the backline. The OD behind them needs to be careful. His damage is very, very high. Macropyre catching on a few heroes, doing a little bit of burn damage, but OD forcing his way out. Could get glimpsed back, but now caught in that stun. The OD ult picking off the Luna. She's going to go down, and now the Ice Path catching on 1, but he's taking a lot of damage here. Forced out of that static storm, so he's just fine for now, but going to get glimpsed back inside. Edgy going to bring him down. Actually, a triple kill for the Mirana. That Star Storm, just massive amounts of damage, and only the Luna going down there. Oh yeah, perhaps should have just sacrificed their clockwork. That fight was very, very clunky for them. The Ice Path trying to slow them down, but if he gets caught by an arrow, it's definitely the end of him. Only a few seconds till that's off cooldown. Force staff coming forward from the Razor as well, giving vision. Check getting right-clicked, and he's probably going to go down here, even if he shrines, and that's an ultra kill for Monster, who's now catching up to the Outworld Devourer in terms of net worth, and I'm not sure what he's going. I'd guess a Lincoln's. That's my wager. Get the fight recap. They've lost their entire gold lead, about 3k just about in favor of Mr. Krbs, and the XP even more serious of a change. Completely equalizing XP, and looking at gold, it looks like it's now perhaps almost in favor of Cats if they get Roshan, but again, they're very slow at Rosh killing.
Radiant's top tower is gone.
So a great fight for Hats, managing to win one after a string of lost fights. Nyx finally seems to be bringing his, yep, his Ags is now finished. I would think he'd go the Carapace damage. OD is building a BKB, absolutely mandatory. We saw in that last fight just how badly he can get kited and stunned and silence chained with a BKB that would resolve all of those issues. Now Dagon to be his next item. He is stealthed up. He did not die though, so he managed to keep his gem alive. I don't know if they have the burst for that Razor. Maybe they do.
We go.
But, oh, Marana pops her invis. She is spotted. They could get a banish on her. But the stun coming out now, just jumping out and just immediately bursting her down. Even with that invis, just through the duration of one impale, she is just shredded.
Incoming.
Now a rocket. Bree needs to be careful. Sometimes it seems on both teams they've been a little ambitious, jumping on heroes who are grouped up thinking they have a great initiation, but then there's no follow-up and they just die. But that Marana kill, very good for them. 900 gold to the side of Mr. Krbs just from killing that Marana. Outward Devourer, still a ways off. It's over 2k away from his BKB. There's an Arcane Rune picked up by HT, and looks like he wants to get this. Roshan pops his Rage, knowing that it's a very short cooldown now. Outward Devourer is their best Roach hitter, so since he is not here, it might be a little bit. Razor scouting it out, sees that it's going on, needs to be cautious. Marana is dead for 30 seconds though, and if OD gets over here, they might be able to take a good Centaur. Stampede now coming in, needs to be careful. Nyx is in his burrow. If they jump in, they could get Krbs, and OD doing a lot of damage. A good double stun though, connecting on OD and on Jakiro, trying to get this damage out. Now they'll tether, and the Eye of the Storm coming out, the silence. And now the hookshot coming into the backline. Luna and Disruptor stunned up. Bioacid doing a lot of work though. Lifestealer getting extremely low, not able to heal himself on anything. And it looks like they will get edgy, but Lifestealer going to go down as well. But it's a double kill so far for the Outward Devourer. And it looks like Biohazard going to go down as well. A defensive banish coming out. Clockwork doesn't have his BK, doesn't have his Blade Mill available. The burst damage from the banish doing some work here. And now the Carapace, looks like now Vendetta coming on. Buttons on the run, doesn't have the mana. Oh, the OD so close to killing him, and it looks like he should go down here in a blink forward from the Nyx Assassin, but a missed impale, but a rocket flare, not going to miss, and it's going to be a double kill for the Bree, and a double kill for Outward Devourer as well. Marana pops her ultimate. Very curious choice. I hope she realizes they have a gem. She won't be able to snag anything, and she could get spotted out and killed herself if she's not careful. But now Roshan, not on the minds of the Dire after losing their life stealer, and a few other heroes. I think they could still get it, but they just seem to choose not to. Stun coming out on the Clockwork, not going to be able to follow up though. Nyx Assassin right there, going to just get herself caught in a stun. So looking at the gold graphic, once again spikes in favor of Mr. Krbs. XP though, now spiking back towards Mr. Krbs. HBS did have a bit of a lead, but have kind of squandered it a little at this point. Marana though with decent enough wave clear that should be able to keep them back. She did go for the Lincoln's, a good utility item for her teammates, as well as a good defensive item for herself, preventing banishes, preventing mana burn. However, they can just pop it with the 4-second cooldown mana burn. Dagon is going to be finished soon on Snarf. Looks like a Glimmer Cape is going to be the item of choice for Chikiro. He's level 15, so to get the cast range talent and the spell amp talent, so pretty standard. I think the spell amp talent just provides so much for the hero himself. Everything he does is magical, and it's super easy to hit a lot of those abilities. The Dual Breath, the Liquid Fire, the Macro Pyre. Some battle lines being drawn out by Jakiro, trying to bring Outworld down here. His TP. Outworld does not have a TP actually, so he'll have to walk all that way. Checking out Luna, she is very far behind. Does have her Hurricane Pike and Mask of Madness, but at 40 minutes that is not nearly enough in terms of items that she wants. Both teams though, running what is, it's looking like a Tricore lineup. And Luna pretty much is just her ult at this stage, with how little her farm is.
And it's off.
Invisibility.
So Clockwork still getting out, has his Ags now, so that is very fast. Oh, Stampede coming in. It looks like they want to go on the Nyx Assassin to catch the stomp on him. If they catch him, it's the Lifestealer as well, but it's not going to chain perfectly for them. Do they not have the vision? They didn't have any detection, and now Clockwork jumping in, trapping 2 inside the cogs, and now they're going to get impaled as well. The Razor ult coming in as well, but looks like there's pretty rough damage coming out. Those 2 inside might actually just get killed off. Marana trying to leap away, but going to go down, popping her Moonlight Shadow, but there is a gem still around, and the Shiva's Guard slowing them up. Will they be able to get this Marana? They only catch the 1 hero, but a botched engage. They didn't have detection. They weren't quite inside the range of that ward, and setting up for a really strong counter engage, but they only lost the 1 so far. This could allow for an easy Roshan though from Mr. Krbs. So, very unfortunate they didn't have dust or a gem of their own. I apologize for that. Bumped my microphone. They did have dust on the Disruptor, but he didn't pop it. Unless he just bought it. He could have just purchased it, and I didn't notice, but... Stomp connecting on 2. Arrow coming out now. It looks like it might connect on the Lifestealer. Nope, pops his rage and ends up missing anyway. Looks like they want to try to siege this high ground Snarf with those long range impales, and a hookshot connecting on the Marana, and she's taking a lot of damage here, trapped inside. She does pop her leap, will be fine for the time being. Let's see how much damage that does. Not going to quite kill her off, and oh, a good triple stomp, but it only actually connects on 2. It looked like it was going to get 3, but still, there is no Aegis or anything. They did go for the tier 3 instead of trying to get an Aegis. The Impale, not going to do anything, not going to catch on anyone. It looks like they're going to back off. I think they should have gone for the... Oh, and now a glimpse on Lifestealer. Pops his rage, though. He'll be able to back out just fine. I think there's a sign for Mr. Krbs to back off. The Lifestealer very, very low. Could perhaps heal up a little bit off of creeps, and now Stampede coming out. They want something. Centaur, will they be able to find anybody? He has his blink, but ends up being a wasted Stampede as there is no follow-up. Hookshot gonna go in, catches onto the Centaur, maybe not the hero that he wants, and now Nyx popping that Impale, but not gonna catch on anyone. He's force-staffed. Centaur is force-staffed to safety. Oh, but now an arrow on the OD. This could be the moment they are waiting for. The jump forward, stomp coming out. They have a static storm if they want to pop. They are, and OD, you are very dead. Bursted down incredibly quickly. Again, overstaying their welcome. They didn't have very many ults available. Their Lifestealer was very low health, and OD still no BKB. I don't think he should be staying around like this. I don't think they should really be fighting as much until the BKB is completed. Once that is finished, it'll be much, much easier for them to find these fights and a pushback onto the Centaur. He doesn't have Stampede.
Radiant's top tower is getting walloped.
Now, oh man, a jump onto Boots. He's getting shredded. Razor demolished. And now it's done catching on to that Nyx Assassin, but he is burrowed, so they may not be able to spot him. And Monster getting beat up very badly, popping the cogs, pushing him back. 1 second till the leap, but he's bashed up, and now the Ice Path coming out as well. It looks like he's not going to be able to survive this, and it's a double kill for HP. Both of the most farmed cores going down, and now it's just supports in the Luna. Will they be able to survive this? The Eclipse coming out, but the Blade Mail reflecting a lot of that damage back onto Boot. And the Rage allowing him to ignore that stun. He's going to pick him off, and now the Disruptor going to die as well. There's no buybacks on anybody here either. And big Bioacid, yeah, he's not long for this world. Push back into the Macropyre and into the rest of the team. That is 5 dead heroes with no buybacks available at all. Looking at the overall gold swing, massively 4K in gold going the way of Mr. Krbs, and now taking it to the overall gold. It is nearly 10k in their favor at 8k, and 10k experience looks like it's going to be the overall lead. They pop a dust for no apparent reason. Fortification is available, but 40 seconds without any of your heroes. That's definitely one lane of racks. Buyback from the Centaur, but that's it. They're not forced back yet. They're not scared of a singular Centaur buyback. He jumps forward, catching the stomp, but it's not going to hit on anyone.
Radiant's middle tower was
And now hitting on the melee racks.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Nyx Assassin just hanging out in the burrow form, and now going to pop out and go hit those racks. Maybe try to clear a wave or two.
Radiant's middle barracks need a hero. Radiant's middle barracks have fallen.
Stomp coming out, catching onto the Lifestealer. BKB now finished onto the Outworld. The next set of these fights should be a bit easier for him. I don't think they can kill him, but the sun will delay him, and they will be able to get this one lane of Rags perhaps turn around, going for maybe a Roche, but nope, they're just going to back off. The other heroes are respawning fairly soon, so perhaps it's the best play. Hero with the gem, picking it up from the Nyx Assassin. Mirana popping that ult. Perhaps they're scouting for somebody. They spotted that that ward was picked up, and she might go on this clockwork. Pink's coming out. Oh, they see her now. She has her leap, but will she get hooked? Clockwork just going to keep walking, and now Nyx Assassin spots her out. Her Lincoln is on cooldown. She gets stunned up, and now just get right-click. Dagon coming out as well. Lots of damage just from the right-clicks of that Outworld, and despite Krbs would have done her in anyways. Now with Mirana dead, no buyback on her either. She taking actually a look at buyback status. Only Clockwork has buyback in this entire game. I would like to see Dire go for Roche. I think they have a very good Roshing lineup now. OD and Lifestealer will kill it very, very quickly. They have a great opportunity to do so right now. Yes, I would probably say pick off the top shrine, because then they can't TP and maybe, you know, get a good Centaur Stomp or a Static Storm. You can place a ward over here somewhere, protecting you, but I think they definitely should get Roche, and with Roche giving it on the OD, putting away his Null Taliates. He's the one that gets picked off the most. He has died 8 times in this game.
I was meant to have this.
And it looks like Sheepstick will be his next item. Taking a look at buyback. Let's look at hero levels. Level 25 on the Razor and the Nyx. Razor did go for the attack range talent, and Nyx Assassin opted for the Carapace damage talent. That makes the most sense to me. Perhaps they're looking towards Roshan now. Clockwork heading that direction. They pushed in the wave. Again, sorry for the clunkiness of everything, but no, it looks like they're just going to try to go top lane, get that shrine. So now we're moving the shrines, taking away even more map from the Radiant. Do they have a rebuttal? Mirana has respawned, does not have her ult. Centaur looked like he might have wanted to go up there, but in the end, not going to. Now with that shrine down, what's their next objective? Looks like they're just going to go back to farming. 3 of their heroes are in the net worth lead. Razor is pretty close though, but just Razor by himself. He has a bunch of mid-game items and really relies on getting a good static link and a lot of drain to do as much damage as like the OD or the Lifestealer. Smoke now from HBS. Oh, and there's Scout, but Nyx Assassin, does he have the Carapace in time? Nope, he's going to get shotgunned down very, very quickly. He wasn't able to Carapace in reaction to that dust, and he'll die. So their smoke does catch somebody, and now the Moonlight Shadow. Is there a stomp? The Cog's trapping him in. Looks like the Lifestealer coming around the backside. Jakiro getting a good ice path. 4 heroes isolated in the backline, though. Not able to do any physical damage to this Lifestealer. He's just tearing them apart. There's no rebuttal whatsoever, but Lifestealer now forced back. The Static Link draining all of his damage away. Centaur going to go die all by himself, but Nyx Assassin still not there, so they lose a lot of control, but now Outward Devour. He has his BKB, pops it, there's nothing to stop him now, and now the Eclipse, but it does nothing through the BKB, and the Outward Sanity's Eclipse just shredding them down. Massive damage, double kill for this Outward Devour, and now Monster needs to be careful, has his leap, that should survive him for a little while, and now the hook shot going to catch on this Razor. His BKB now timing out. Now nothing to save him from all this damage, and he's going to go down as well. It's a triple kill. No buybacks for anybody. Only Mirana still alive. This is another lane of Rax, and if nothing else, a free Roshan. Marana TPing back to the base, and it looks like they may be aiming for the throne, but without Lifestealer, they push very, very slowly. So that is the one boon. The Lifestealer did get killed off. The fight recap. It was only a slight gold swing in their favor, but the big thing to note is that the that they can get these objectives, get the base buildings, get some more gold, and it looks like they're just going to go for this top tower. They push it pretty slowly. Arrow coming out. Luna buying back. The arrow not going to connect on anybody. Luna, though, without Eclipse and still no items. So even though she bought back, there's not a whole lot that she's going to be able to do. They should be able to get this tier 3 tower. Maybe not. I'm going to back off. Perhaps unaware of how high their advantage is at this point in the game, or just playing as safely as possible. We want to look at hero levels again, and we do have level 25 on several people. Clockwork. 10-second additional battery assault duration, so battery assault lasts as long as it's cooled down, and you'll have that up permanently. And we see the Outworld Devourer opted for the spell amplification. Alright, that makes sense. And then we take a look back at the overall net worth. OD leading 2k ahead of the closest Radiant hero. Again, I want to emphasize how Roshan will provide a very significant advantage to Mr. Krbs. They would kill it extremely quickly with their heroes, especially with Lifestealer and the Outworld Devourer. OD is really the big one for killing Roshan. I mean, pure damage nukes. Picking up that Arcane Rune. Lifestealer seems like he can just about finish his Eye of Scotty, so he might finish that before going to continue on their push or any fight. Invis Rune at the bot lane. It's not super useful at this point in the game. Maybe you could scout somebody out, but they do have their gem still on the Jakiro. Clockwork going to push lanes very quickly with that permanent battery assault. Now 15 armor picked up by the Lifestealer, and 150 gold per minute picked up by Jakiro. So Lifestealer sitting at 29 armor. I'm kind of surprised he didn't go for an Assault Cuirass. A good offensive and defensive item would increase their push, increase the survivability of the whole team. So a little, I think, suboptimal itemization coming out from him. Eye of Scotty is a great item, but it does nothing for his team, and I think an Assault Cuirass would achieve the same goal of, you know, increasing his survivability, increasing his damage, increasing his potential, but also increase the potential of all of his teammates. Now a hookshot coming in, connecting onto the disruptor. Battery assault coming out, but now a stomp coming in to stomp the Moonlight Shadow. The stomp, the stun lasts for seemingly forever in the Centaur. Now Glimmer Kick coming out, and now OD sitting in the back line trying to beat up onto the Centaur, getting the Lucent Beam on him though, and now pops his B-Kick, the Ice Path, connecting on 3 heroes. They're jumping down onto this Razor. Razor getting very, very low, and if he dies early in this fight, it's going to be very bad for them, and the Luna already dead, was unable to pop that ult Stampede coming out. Does he have an Aghanim Scepter? He does not, so it is not the defensive cooldown that it could be, and now Razor trying to pop that Static Link. The Kinetic Field buying him some time, but is it going to be enough? And now, oh, he's forced back into the fight, and he's going to go down. And Disruptor going to get popped out as well, trying to buy himself some time, but it's not going to be enough, and that is 3 dead heroes, and only Jakiro is down, so they can push very, very far, and Outworld chasing them down, wants to get this Mirana, and oh, Banish coming out on him. The burst is going to be a lot, but the hookshot coming in too, and now Mirana, no leap available, and she's going to go down, dropping her own Gem of True Sight. She does have buyback available, but I'm not sure it matters. Clockwork looking to build a Radiance in the ultra late game, trying to snowball even further, making him an even more dangerous person to be around. But oh, a Stomp coming in, connecting on nobody. He actually canceled it, and now Rage was able to be popped up, and now Mana Burn and a stun coming out. This Centaur getting extremely low, and will probably go down right here. Nothing to protect him, and that's a killing spree for HDP, and now the top tier 3 is going to go down, and it looks like they're going to be tunneling the racks. No buybacks on anyone else. This is 4 dead heroes for 40 seconds. Lifestealer just going to chunk away at these objectives with that Echo Saber, with that Desolator. Marana Monster doing his best, trying to do everything that he can. The hookshot gonna connect on him, but he should be able to get that leap off. And no, they're jumping forward, but a bash. First hit, Marana gonna go down, gets the leap, but gonna get followed, and then Dagoned to death, and that is 5 dead heroes as the racks are beat down. This looks like it could be the end of the game here, as even when they do come up, it is only Disruptor and Luna. Disruptor ult will be up when he respawns, but even with a perfect 5-man combo, these heroes are all very, very tanky, and it may not matter. Lifestealer now going for this. Fortification is available, perhaps saving it for their throne or their last set of rags. So Lifestealer just thudding away at these objectives. Fortification is used, trying to save some face on their tier 4s as well as on their... oh, hookshot coming in from the Clockwork, jumping in on the Luna. He has the Blade Mail and now pops the Cogs, trapping the Luna inside. Has a Radiance as well, so does a lot of damage, but Luna gonna force staff herself away to safety. And meanwhile, they're losing their racks. The melee racks goes down at the bot lane, and now the range does not seem like it's going to last for much longer. It's just getting torn to shreds, and that's going to be Mega Creeps coming up for Mr. Krbs. Even with a Luna, but again, she just has no farm whatsoever. Still no BKB. She does have her Mask of Madness and her Hurricane Pike, but that's just not enough at this stage of the game. If she were really well farmed, they could hypothetically hold against Mega Creeps. Stun coming out, gonna connect on 2 heroes. Snarf sitting inside that Impale, or Burrow I should say. Impale coming up soon, shooting that Dagon. Now the Eclipse coming out, but it's really not hitting anybody, just getting soaked up by creeps, and now Lifestealer popping his Rage and the open wounds, shredding down from this Luna. Luna gonna go down as well, and that's Marana and Luna dead for a pretty long time, and without them, there's not much of a defense to be, and Button's gonna go down as well. No buyback on him. Hookshot coming in from the Clockwork. He's diving into the fountain, but probably not gonna kill anyone, probably. But this looks like it's just going to be the end of the game. The first wave of Mega Creeps are coming in, and they didn't have any creeps pushed out anyways. Once those Mega Creeps arrive, it's probably over, and now the throne getting beat down by Mr. Krbs. Edge, he does get away by Acid though. Getting chunked down by this Outward Devourer. I want to apologize for the FPS again, and GG is called by Edge. And Hats played much better in the early game this time. Definitely impressed to see that they were able to kind of bounce back a little bit. But still, it was not enough. And Mr. Krbs just able to find really strong pickoffs. And again, the farm on the side of Hats really was not that impressive. They felt a core down for a large amount of this game, and just weren't able to handle it in the team fights. Didn't have the damage to bring down all the cores. They did get some good fights though, Hats, but wasn't enough. And Mr. Krbs is going 2-0 in this best of 2, so it's going to help them going into the playoffs. So congratulations to Mr. Krbs, and hopefully Hats are able to work on some of their flaws and improve in the coming weeks. Again, this was a replay, so I do not know if these teams are still in, as the playoffs have started probably right around the time that I uploaded this. But thank you for tuning in, and again, I'm going to apologize for the low quality of this recording. I'm on a laptop, and it is a very old laptop, so it wasn't quite as good as my desktop. If asked, I will recast this on my desktop for a higher quality production. So thank you for tuning in, and
Now, where were we?
I hope to see more of each of these teams later.